Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Wednesday, January 28, 2026, and let's be honest.
Yeah.
If you have been anywhere near a screen in the last day, you already know. The internet it's basically melting.
It's not just buzzing. It is a full-on meltdown. We're talking Fallout, Season 2, Episode 7, The Handoff.
The dreaded penultimate episode.
The one that always breaks your heart right before the finale comes in to just, stomp on the pieces.
And this one did not disappoint. We have gone through a huge stack of Coverage Collider, Screen Rant, AV Club, all the deep lore forums that have been just picking apart every single frame. And the consensus is, this wasn't just setting the table for the finale. This was like a thesis statement for the entire Fallout universe.
It really was. Usually in Episode 7 is just moving the chess pieces around. It's functional, get the hero here, the villain there.
Right.
But this felt different. This was a study in consequences. Specifically, the absolute disaster that comes from misplaced trust.
That's exactly it. That's the mission for this deep dive. We're not just recapping, though. Oh man, we have to talk about that wedding.
Oh, we have to.
We're connecting the dots. The pre-war past to the brutal present. We are looking for that line between good and evil and, spoiler, I don't think this episode believes it exists.
Or if it does, it's been so blurred by 200 years of radiation that you can't even see it anymore.
Okay, so let's get into it. And I think we have to start with the character who just completely stole the first 10 minutes. We all thought we knew Steph Harper.
Right. Steph, the ultimate Vault Karen, the, ambitious, mean-spirited middle manager who's obsessed with mashed potatoes.
But that cold open.
Wow.
It completely changes everything. We flash back to the pre-war era, and it turns out Steph isn't just some vault dweller.
No. She's a survivor. She's over 200 years old.
And the punchline that pays off so perfectly later.
She's Canadian.
Which is played for a laugh, but the context is actually incredibly dark. The sources we looked at really dug into the lore here with the whole Big 51 thing.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't played the games, basically before the bombs, the U.S. didn't just partner with Canada. They annexed it.
Just rolled right in.
Rolled in with power armor and tanks to secure the oil and timber. It was a full-on military occupation. And that's where we find young Steph.
Fleeing an internment camp called Uranium City.
It just explains so much about her. There's that devastating scene where her mother is dying and she grabs Steph and gives her this one final piece of advice.
Don't think of them as human beings.
Think of them as Americans.
Chilling. That line is just... It flips the whole script on dehumanization, It's the victim dehumanizing the oppressor just to survive.
Exactly. It frames her entire life. A few minutes later, we see her slit a man's throat for a can of pork and beans.
Just for beans.
But that's the whole point. To her, everyone is just an obstacle. She shut off her empathy 200 years ago to survive the Americans, and she just never turned it back on.
No, she really didn't. Which brings us to the present in Vault 32. We finally get the answer about Woody. Poor Woody.
The garbage disposal.
Ugh, it was so visceral. Chet spineless, terrified. Chet is at the sink, hears that grinding, and he just reaches in and pulls out Woody's glasses.
She didn't just kill him, she ground him up. It shows she is an apex predator living among sheep.
But what I love is how the episode uses that darkness to set up the satire of the wedding.
The wedding from hell.
Steph is forcing Chet to marry her to lock down her power as overseer. It's a complete power grab.
And Chet, bless him, he finally finds a spine. It took 2 seasons, but he's at the altar.
And he hits us with the, I don't.
He says, I don't, and he just lets it all out. She's not from here. She's 200 years old. She's a murderer.
And the crowd is concerned. They're gasping, but they're not rioting yet. Murder is bad, but they're still processing.
Right. Being a murderer is apparently negotiable in Vault politics.
But then he drops the real bomb. He holds up her Canadian ID card.
And that's when they become a mob.
It's the perfect Fallout joke. They can kind of tolerate extreme violence, but finding out she's a foreigner, that's where they draw the line.
It's just a brilliant commentary on the Vault-Tec indoctrination. For centuries, they've been fed this hyper-patriotic narrative.
Yeah.
Being a killer is one thing, but being un-American, unforgivable.
So Steph has to flee, locking herself in the overseer's office. But while that's all imploding, we gotta go topside. Because there's a very different trio forming.
The unlikely trio. The Ghoul, Maximus, and Thaddeus.
This whole storyline was just pure chaos. But Thaddeus, oh man, the body horror. I was eating lunch.
Big mistake. Huge. So Thaddeus has been using that snake oil, right? And he thinks he's turning into a ghoul, just like Cooper. He's trying to have this like bonding moment.
Hey, we're ghoul bros now.
And the ghoul's just looking at him with this expression of pure pity, like, kid, you ain't me.
And then the arm just falls off.
Plop. No blood, really. Just a wet detachment.
Ugh.
And the lore community's all over this. Ghouls don't just fall apart like that. This suggests it wasn't just radiation in that bottle. It was probably FEV.
Coerced evolutionary virus. Okay, so for people who don't know,
It's the stuff that made super mutants. It aggressively rewrites your DNA. So if Thaddeus isn't becoming a cool, immortal gunslinger,
he's becoming a Cronenberg monster.
yeah, probably something like a centaur. It's so tragic. But while he's falling apart, Maximus is kind of rising up.
Socially, at least. He finally puts on the NCR power armor.
And the whole atmosphere just shifts instantly.
Which brings up this really interesting idea some of the reviews were talking about, the power of branding in the apocalypse.
It sounds kind of silly branding, but it's totally true. Without the suit, Maximus is just a guy, a confused guy. But in that armor with the NCR bear on it, he's a symbol.
The people in Freeside, their reaction is wild. They start cheering, following him.
Because the NCR brand still means something. It means order, civilization, the good old days. Even if the real NCR crumbled, the logo still promises safety.
It's like a superhero cape. It doesn't matter who's wearing it, the cake does all the work. The problem is, Maximus doesn't have the skills to back it up.
Well, he has the combat skills. We see that in the disaster at the New Vegas Strip. We finally get the death claws.
The real deal, not just skeletons, proper, terrifying death claws.
And Maximus, he tries to be the hero. He takes one on to save the ghoul, and for a second, it works. He decapitates it, clean. He looks like the hero on the poster.
But then physics happens.
Physics happens. He loses control, crashes through the gates of Freeside, and basically holds the door open for the rest of the pack to run in and slaughter the same people who were just worshiping him.
Such a brutal irony. The brand promised protection, but the man inside brought the monsters.
The tragedy of unintended consequences, which feels like the subtitle for this whole episode, doesn't it?
It really does, because when we jump back to the pre-war timeline, we see the start of it all. Cooper Howard is just so heartbreakingly naive.
This is the emotional core. We know the world ends. But seeing how it ends through a series of good decisions, that's what hurts. Cooper and Barb, they have cold fusion, infinite energy.
The thing that could stop all the wars, but they need someone to trust.
And before we get to the politician, did you catch the crossover? In the hotel, the maid who helps Cooper.
It took me a second, but yeah, it's Steph, young Steph.
Right. And this connects the dots. This is how she got into the Vault program. She must have used that connection, traded information about Cooper to get to Hank McLean.
Everyone plays Cooper because he decides to trust Congresswoman Diane Welch. She's played by Martha Kelly, who has that really unassuming vibe.
She seems like a true public servant. She convinces Cooper, give the tech to the president, let the system work.
And speaking of the president, talk about a casting choice.
Clancy Brown.
You do not cast Clancy Brown to play a good guy. If he's the president, you know something is deeply wrong.
It's a huge red flag for the audience. But Cooper doesn't know he's in a TV show.
Yeah.
He trusts the institution. He thinks he's saving the world.
And Welch believes it too. She's not a villain. She wants to give the energy away for free. She's an idealist.
And that idealism walks them both right off a cliff. Cooper hands the most powerful thing in the world to the Enclave, the shadow government, thinking he's arming the peacekeepers.
When he was really just loading the gun for the executioners. It's gut-wrenching because we know what happens next.
His trust was so misplaced. But you don't realize how misplaced until you see what's happening with Lucy and Hank in the present.
This whole storyline is so creepy. Hank is giving Lucy the full Dad of the Year routine, teaching her to drive a golf cart around the facility, reminiscing about her childhood.
He's not just gaslighting her, he's trying to convert her. He explains his whole mind control philosophy. And it's not just puppetry, it's amnesia. It's wiping away trauma.
He frames it as a cure for humanity. War happens because people hold grudges, so you just remove the memory of the grudge.
And for a scary second, you see Lucy actually considering it. She sees a Legion soldier, one of these terrifying killers, just peacefully mopping a floor.
And she asks that question, is this better? It's that classic trap. Is a forced peace better than a free war? She has that great line, something like,
one side is murdering, the other is just vaguely problematic.
yes. Vaguely problematic is doing a lot of work there. She wants to believe him. But then the dinner scene, the turning point.
Biff.
Biff, the tough NCR ranger who saved her life. And now he's a waiter.
And he doesn't recognize her. He's not just peaceful, he's empty. It's a lobotomy.
And that's what snaps her out of it. She realizes Hank's peace is just the death of the self. It's not peace, it's just managing livestock.
Which leads to maybe the best moment of the episode. She handcuffs her dad to the oven.
A nice little domestic touch. And she goes to destroy the mainframe.
Which brings us to the cliffhangers, plural. The 1-2 punch that broke the internet.
Let's do reveal A first. The ghoul in New Vegas.
He fights his way into the Lucky 38 penthouse looking for Robert House. He plugs in the cold fusion core.
And you're expecting a guy in a cryopod, like the game, right?
Exactly. But the show twists it. The screen flickers on and you realize Robert House isn't in the computer.
He is the computer.
His consciousness is fully merged with the building. The ghoul hasn't just woken up a man, he's woken up a god king of Vegas.
As insane as that was, reveal B. Reveal B is the one that's gonna stick with me.
Oh yeah. Lucy finds the mainframe, she opens the door, ready to smash a supercomputer.
And it's not a server rack, it's a tank. And inside that tank is a living, severed head hooked up to wires with the straw in its mouth.
And it's not just any head.
It's Congresswoman Diane Welch.
The good one. The idealist from the flashback who wanted to save the world.
This is where it all comes together, the absolute horror. We watched her try to do the right thing, and this was her reward.
The Enclave didn't just kill her. They took the brain of the woman who wanted peace and turned it into a biological CPU to force that peace onto everyone else.
It's the most horrific, twisted irony. They used her own dream against her and against the world.
It goes right back to what Steph's mother said. Don't think of them as human beings. Vault-Tec didn't see a person. They saw a component, a piece of wetware.
So dark, so perfectly Fallout. And somewhere in all that horror, we almost missed poor Norm.
Oh, Norm. He sends out a distress call, and we see the receiver light up in the Vegas vault where Lucy is. But she's a little busy.
Yeah, she's staring at the severed head of a pre-war politician. She probably missed the call.
So the board is set. Steph is a cornered rat. Maximus is a false idol leading a monster attack. The ghoul has woken a digital ghost. And Lucy is staring at the price of utopia.
It is so much to process, but before we sign off, we want to leave you with one last thing to chew on.
Think about that final image, Diane Welch. We know she was a good person who wanted to save the world. And the system she's powering, it does create peace. It stops the killing. So the question is the system actually evil?
Or is it just a grotesque but functional version of her own desire? If the only way to stop humans from destroying each other is to take away their choice, was she right all along?
That's a terrifying thought.
And that's why we watched. Thank you for diving in with us. I'm gonna go check my garbage disposal now.
Good idea.
We'll see you for the finale. Stay safe out there.